covering Killeen, Woodway, and all of Central Texas. This is Fox 44 News at 6.
When looking back at East Waco in the 1950s and 60s, there are few things more iconic than Walker's Auditorium. But it's been so forgotten, not one picture of the renowned building seems to still exist. On this Black History Month, I share why it's a legacy that needs to be preserved. On an East Waco street stands a daughter of a trailblazer. Charlotte Floyd Love is the only child of Herbert Walker, the legendary Waco businessman who opened up the iconic Walker's Auditorium in 1945.
It was an area to where blacks could come and entertain, and he was the only black club in Waco at the time. He built it brick by brick.
Even though there are no pictures of it, remnants of the famous venue are still here. And behind these bricks echoed the music of legends. Ike and Tina and Little Stevie rocked East Waco with their immense talent. But Charlotte tells me there were so many more.
B.B. King was one of my very special ones. Bobby Blue Bland, I enjoyed all of them. Gladys Knight, James Brown.
As we sit in the very house where Charlotte grew up, she explains her dad did not allow her to be at the club to see the acts, but she heard them. And that's why this old red telephone is so special to her.
I had a special line, and he would let me call to the auditorium, and I would lay in the bed and have the phone up to me sideways like this and listen to the bands perform.
Walker's Auditorium became the epicenter of black entertainment in Waco. It was magical inside. But outside was a far more sobering reality.
Being, in the middle of what we consider the Jim Crow South.
Charlotte's son, Roderick Floyd, shares the unfairness of the times.
We were not allowed to have business on certain parts of the town or certain areas of our city.
East Waco was one of the few areas where people of color were allowed to live and do business. But segregation didn't stop Herbert from using his entrepreneurial smarts, creating a place so adored it brought black artists and visitors alike. 1001 Clifton Street became a staple on the Chitlin Circuit, a Jim Crow-era safe space for African-American performers. Right here on Clifton Street is a part of East Waco that was a huge stop on the Chitlin Circuit.
This was one of those main areas where a lot of artists would come to showcase their talent and be able to express themselves freely.
But even as segregation divided the country, a different story developed inside Walker's Auditorium. Walker welcomed people of all colors.
He didn't close the door on anybody.
You never would know that segregation even existed.
But the years have not been kind. The auditorium has disappeared, and Walker's legacy is fading as well, which makes his family sad, but they're still hopeful.
I would like to eventually see a marker or a statue of something of him placed in Waco. He just did some remarkable things in Waco that I think should be given special recognition.
Walker's accomplishments go far beyond the auditorium. Also the owner of a barbecue pit, a taxi cab stand, and apartment buildings, he greatly contributed to Waco's economic growth. There have been efforts made to put up a historical marker, but nothing concrete so far. But maybe that could change with your help. Head over to my story on fox44news.com and let me know what you think.